we're live, but we're not going to roll the show out yet. Let's see. Hang on a second. So it's what is it? It's 9 o'clock at night over there. No, 8 o'clock.
Yeah. And where you are?
I'm in Hawaii, in Kauai. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So you know what? Maybe no. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see. I'm just checking the sound. Okay.
Okay.
I enjoyed the show last time. It was a. I had just gotten here, actually, and I
Yeah.
was I was
Yeah.
going through all that dragon stuff, and then you popped in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I look back at that period, which would have been November, and if you would have asked me in that moment, any of the whole month, like before Morgan got here, I would have said I'm doing fine, and I was doing fine. But what I didn't realize was the enormity of the extremes of what I was experiencing. I was just like, oh, okay. I went to a cave and I merged with a reptilian. Okay, next day, what happens, right? But but I remember the show during that time period. It was. Oh, it says the broadcast has expired. No, it hasn't. What are they talking about? Hang, no, there's people here, right?
Yeah, and it says live on my.
Yeah, and there's people. There's 26 people in the house. Hang on, let me just see. We might have to do a. Oh yeah, here we go. We barely made it. Okay, so we have sound. All right. So, welcome to the first of 4 episodes today of Soul Speaks 5D. We have a beautiful sister with us. We had a show back in November that was incredible. Elizabeth Brilliant, watching from her hospital room, healing peace, love, and comfort to you from all of us. Jody Lee's in the house. Raquel Trevino, Three Feathers, is in the house. Jeanette Smith Wasilowski from Northeastern Pennsylvania. Monica Peterson, always showing up. Jennifer McGreevy from Washington State. Denise Chadwick.
Yeah.
And Denise, to me, and you carry the same energy. I don't know why.
Yeah, you're spot on.
Am I spot on? Yeah, because to me, and
Spot on.
y'all carry the
Yes.
same energy. Yeah. Elizabeth Brilliant. Yeah. Candace Lewis, Angel Divine. Monica's here. Valentine from Macedonia. And Stephen Michael Jones from Norway, old friend. It's good to see you, Stephen. If you'd like to come on the show, Stephen, I'd love to sit down and talk to you because I know you have a lot to offer in your quiet and powerful masculinity. So we have Agnes too. Hello, everybody. If these shows resonate with you, please share. Todd Medina, Soul Speaks 5D, Soulgy Network. We keep on moving forward and expanding. Adding frequencies to an ever expanding vibration. Hello, Sonia Sandoval and Michelle Bruce. So, welcome back, Elizabeth Rudwick from UK. Second time here. I really enjoyed the first time. Welcome back. Thank you for honoring us with your presence, sharing space with us today.
Thank you. So happy to be back. Love what you do. Love you and Morgan. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So let me ask you. I asked you how you doing today. I think you're a little. Huh?
Well, since we had both momentous time because in December I left my part-time job to go full-time for walking this path. So that has been the big leap of faith, to stepping out from the binds of keeping myself small, being in the matrix energy of I've got to have this job to have this money. And since then, nearly every day, amazing wonders has been happening. It's just absolutely incredible. So that was the first message I wanted to convey to everybody. When the time is right, the time will push you or you'll take the leap. It was a push and a leap for me. And then there's things that are just occurring that I couldn't imagine because it's come from outside the 3D physical ego human being self. And it's just incredible and magical. So I've heard other people say when they move and shift, and take that leap of faith and being in the moment and being more in the, I don't know, fifth dimensional aspirational way of being, things are, they flow, they come with ease.
Hmm.
And so yeah, so there's quite a lot that's happened since we've spoken, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get into that. Can you move closer to the mic? There's a couple
Yeah.
of people saying they can't hear you
Okay.
or they're having
Okay.
trouble hearing. You got 41 people in the
Okay.
house, so we want to get the most, 46.
Wonderful.
Uh, yeah, I think what you're describing. Okay, so let me go through it again just so I can make sure I understand. So what you're saying is in December, you either were pushed or made the choice
Oh.
to break it. To yeah, right. To
Mm,
step away. And what you're saying is what a lot of people I think have been saying is, and it still doesn't make it any easier because it's a
no.
personal decision, and that is um, once you do it, you're getting immediate reciprocation. You're getting immediate
Yeah.
synchronicities and proof.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let me ask you this, because I think a lot of people can relate to this. Is it also that you're giving it in little teaspoons? So, and what I mean by that is not that the gifts of reciprocation aren't huge and the synchronicities, you know, out of this world, but
Yeah.
it's like, is it for you? I'm asking, is it for you
Mm,
as it's been for me to a degree that you get these little spoonfuls, meaning like, here's what you get today. And you're like, okay, wow. Well, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do next week? How am I going to pay rent? And, but it's like, it's been for me like a progression since the first of the year, especially where you get that spoonful of the day, you know,
mm-hmm.
and then you got to go to sleep in faith and you come out
Mm.
again. Has it been that way for you?
Yes, it is being very much in the moment each day. Um, the my old way was if I'd have something special or exciting that was going to come up, I'd fixate on it. I'd think about it. I've got this special thing coming up. Um, a bit like the 9 to 5, you look forward to the weekends. You're not living your life in the moment so much. But since taking that leap of faith and that push, which the universe is ourselves reflecting back, that's why it was me taking the leap and being pushed. Um, it I am now, there's so much that's happening. So yes, it's, I suppose the image of a chick with the mouth wide open was being fed when you were saying like that, because it's like being reborn. And you like, I felt like all a bit vulnerable and fluffy, and it's like, oh, I got, have I got wings? Can I get off the nest?
Yeah.
And so, but they're yeah, it's been phenomenal, actually. Yes, it's been
Yeah.
spoons, but like you say, but it's been phenomenal. And but I knew this was going to happen, and my human ego mind self was going. My consciousness is going to open up because I'm 100% saying I am giving myself now. I'm
Yeah.
in service, and
Yeah.
when you do that, when I did that, um, it's an energetic heart opening. It's you're trusting something bigger than you,
Yeah.
and um, it's something more than words than I can convey. But when you're in it, you know, so. But I could sense it, and my human ego was felt nervous because it's the unknown. It's beyond what I could think, but I did know it was coming, and I've
Yeah.
had visionary experiences, encounters with people. This whole thing with I had somebody come for a one-to-one. The minute I opened the door to her, I said, "I know your soul," and I heard myself say it. I thought, I've only just met this person, and I'm speaking like that. And then in the session, and I had, I don't use, for want of a better word, downloads. I get lots of information coming through always, but it was a significant meeting, and I said, "Are there pyramids in Bosnia?" She went, "No." And I said, "You sure?" I said, I don't know. Where's this coming from? I've never heard of a pyramid in Bosnia. And then it went on a bit, and I'm like, they kept on giving me this message, the pyramid. And I'm like,
Yeah.
are you sure there's not a pyramid in Bosnia? And she went, yes. So the reason why she said no and yes is because there's been this huge cover up
Yeah.
of pyramids everywhere, but the Bosnian ones, I mean, since that I now looked into it, and
Yeah.
there's concrete archaeological evidence
Yeah.
of 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 what's going on in Bosnia. But
I wonder why that was popping up in your session
because she has been building a retreat center for
in
10
Bosnia.
years in Bosnia. She
Oh,
didn't know
wow.
anything about the pyramids.
Yeah. And
So
go ahead.
yeah.
Go.
So I'm now going to Bosnia in
You're
April
going to
and
Bosnia.
May.
Well, make sure you take a GoPro with your camera so you can, we can record live your
Yeah, yeah,
transcendence when you step into the pyramids. But there's been quite a bit of similar stories. They're really the same story. Uh, I follow Robert Sepper, the anthropologist and producer with Atlantean Gardens, and he does a lot of really great productions, very very well researched, independent. And he has one that came out recently that was about some pyramids found in the Atlantic Ocean. But I've seen reports all
yeah,
over the place. And then you
yeah,
look at the other side of it and say, okay, how much of this information is being leaked out? Why is it being leaked out? Why, you know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah,
it's still that game of discernment. But I think that's interesting that that came in on the session. Now, I know, and I can't remember everything because we all know the 3D short term memory is pretty much
yeah,
gone. But
mm,
I know that we connected around the time I was being initiated or indoctrinated or re-indoctrinated into the dragon energy when I got to Kauai in November.
yeah,
And you
yeah,
you have a pretty powerful dragon connection and affiliation, I believe.
yeah.
Uh, to include, I think some. Did you do a couple of paintings or something? I don't remember, or drawings.
On a new one,
Yeah, yeah.
which I'll try and get. I'll just hold
That,
on.
that's a, I was just
Yeah,
trying to. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead if you want to. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Her art's really really good. Hello, Portugal Coast, and good morning, New Zealand. Let's see what you got. Here, let me put the camera on you only. Wow, that's pretty trippy. Oh wow, yeah. Have you taken a picture of that and put it online?
On my Facebook feed a while back.
Okay, then it'll show
I-
up in your photo. It'll show up in your photos. That's pretty
yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
I couldn't see it clear because I've got a glare in my face, but I
Oh,
saw some of the
yeah.
looked like a couple of dragons for thighs there, and it
Right.
looked like a
Well,
fairy. Huh? Was it
yeah,
like
it's
a?
angelic.
Yeah.
Um, it's the Glastonbury tour. It's the tour, the Glastonbury
Oh, the
tour.
tour. Okay,
Um,
hang on.
yeah, and you've got the red water spring and the white water spring. So the red dragon and the white dragon.
Oh wow.
And the
Yeah.
whole it's an ascension, uh, the energy of angelic divine. So that's like a being with wings.
Yeah, that's
Um,
powerful. That's really
and like
powerful.
yeah.
That really is. I'm totally digging that. Oop, put the wrong thing on here. Hang on. Okay, so now since the first of the year, everyone agrees that it's just it's not just one time, but it's gone up 3 or 4 times. It's just
Yeah,
quantum elevations
yeah.
and the
We've
speed
run
of
out of words.
information,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
you know, so what has been the prevalent energies surfacing with you, the faces of the universe that have been coming in for you, the dragons, angelic, other galactic? I mean, have you had a uptick in communication and communion with the universe?
Most definitely. I had a profound experience with solar logos with the I was walking just along my street. Most of my a lot of my experiences are out in nature, but I don't always get them. They are always in nature. This is just walking on London Street where I live, and I looked up, and the sun. I saw the sun as the divine being that the sun is, not
Mm.
just the 3D. A winged divineness is the most. It's beyond words, and then realize we can go within, so that there's a temple within the sun, so there's a whole realm within. It's a portal, but not only that, it's God, sort of God, goddess, divine source. There's this huge sort of, it felt angelic, and then the more I sort of saw it, I can't describe. uh so that's pretty. And then today, funny enough, I was, well, yesterday, sorry, my mind goes all over. I did a
That happens
journey.
too. That's understandable. Just take a deep breath. Hey,
um uh
before we get to yesterday, I don't, because I don't want to forget this. By the way, somebody, because let's come back to that. Definitely. Where is it? Let's see here. So, Angel Divine Amazing is an understatement to describe Elizabeth Rudwick's work. Love it and highly recommend it for anyone. So, we're going to cover that too. We're going to go back to yesterday in a second, but I wanted to see if you could field this question, and maybe you can, and maybe you can't, from one of our very consistent supporters. And thank you, Monica Peterson. She says, during the eclipse, I think I swallowed my dragon and I saw the tail. What do I do now? Any ideas?
yeah, this is this is a bit of a vast subject. I This is a bit vast. I felt drawn to the word Lucifer, the bringer of light, for many, many, many years. But there's been such a shroud. It's all part of the fall from grace and the keeping us small, because in a way we're all Lucifer, we're all light bringers, we're all angels.
Mm-hmm.
But this figure of Lucifer was created to put in the fear that we're not divine beings, and was merged with the concept of the devil.
Yeah.
I this It kept on calling me, my heart calling. So I just kept on being with this over many years, and then I felt a connection with the plumaged serpent. And then also there's this people in the Middle East, the Yazidi, who one of their main deities is the light bringer. And this figure, this serpent, this Kundalini dragon, um, the light bringer. It's the same energy, but keeps on coming up throughout the different ages and continents. Well, I self-initiated to this energy, and at the time, I wasn't sure whether it was real or not real. I was full of doubt. Um, I was part of this sort of big organization. Everybody else is being initiated, but I wasn't. So I self-initiated myself to this energy, and that's quite some time ago. And I did sounding, and I didn't know about light language and sounding. I just started making these big noises,
Right.
and I felt this light come in, and then wind forward. I don't know, 10 years, 15 years. I don't know, a long time. And I got called to go to a gong bath, a Venus gong bath. Now, um, the light bringer is connected to Venus, and Venus is about love.
Yeah.
And this lady started gonging the Venus gong, and out came the plumaged serpent out of me, and then
Yeah.
stared me in my face. And I'm like, wow. So I had made that connection. So for the person who, that was a rather long story about swallowing and, connecting. It's just, this is, we are part of the divine. This is part of
That's right.
us. And it's you recognizing that part. And when we're ready, we come to an experience that comes through a widening knowledge, understanding. It
Yeah.
won't, I've had things lie dormant for many, many years, and then suddenly they're all coming up now. Like
Yeah.
sketchbooks I've hidden away, writings I've hidden away, memories I've hidden away, and they all will make sense, but not from our mind ego concept or timeline. So I would just say be with that experience and try not to figure it out. It's
Yeah.
beyond our logic and our mind's
Good point.
imagination.
That's a
Take it
great
in.
point.
It sounds
That,
beautiful. Take it in.
yeah. If I had a beer next to me, I'd just down it with the beer, swallow the tail. No, I'm kidding. But no, I'm
Yeah.
not. But no. But no, I think that's a good point about what you said, because first of all, anything that's presenting itself to you is you.
Yeah.
And you made the comment earlier about something higher than yourself, kind of working through you, or whatever occurred in December, or maybe our higher version of ourselves,
Yeah.
however we want to put it.
Yeah.
But we cannot divorce ourselves from any aspect of the universe. Uh, and that's not a belief. That's just an absolute. We are that. We either are or we aren't. And so that, I think these subjects like that, just even using the word Lucifer, or whatever other connotations that have been put into our um, conditioning, that were there to cause separation,
Yes,
can
definitely.
be sensitive to some people. Somebody made a comment, I'm not sure that I'm down with this. Well, that's for you to decide. Everybody's got to, row their own boat. And but I think this is important, that if we have so many people on here on this venue, so many people, most specifically divine feminines, have been doing this work for so many years, back in the background, without any notoriety, and I think it's important to hear the experiences that you have, because you're right. It's not anything we have to understand. It's the intention, the experience, combined with the akashic that's within you, in your stories that you tell, and the information that you give, that actually activates your brother and sisters. It's the human is the last one to understand anything, right? If it ever
Yeah.
does.
I think if we break through all this, that's why it does feel a risk to say these things, but but they're falsehoods. It's um and we're beginning to see through the fog. I've had yesterday a couple of people say they were feeling they were in a fog. What's going on for them? And I said, well, it's because you're now seeing the fog that's been around you all the time, but you're
Yeah.
now experiencing it for real. So you can now come out of the fog. But I always go with what I experience and what I feel from the heart. So I was getting information about, well, there's the name Lucifer, and
Yeah.
it's linked with the devil, but they're two different. That is a bit odd. And then, well, it's called, this figure is called the light bringer. Well, that's a bit
Yeah.
strange. And
Yeah.
then, and then I have this heart connection. Well, I'm feeling that. Then it's connected with Venus, which is about love. And so I've always gone with what I feel. And then I started putting all those pieces together, and it all made sense to me about the suppression and the fear, um,
Yeah.
and sort of, I call it, yeah, the fall from grace, which we chose
Yeah.
so we can experience this. But yes, but that's
Well, I think that's an important subject because, I woke up today and maybe something's in the air. And I woke up today and I received a message from somebody very close to me. And it wasn't a message of judgment or anything like that. It was a message about one of one of our hmm, kindreds out there who's expanding who's aware, the awareness of them is expanding through their work. And it was a piece that was disparaging to that person, and it was very well written. And so I looked at it and I thought, well, what is this? I'm not going to make a judgment about this person, either person. I've been given this just to take in. And for me, it was not about the person spoken badly of, or the person that wrote it. It was about the energy of, are you going to give your power away? Mm-hmm. Are you going to get caught up in this potential drama or whatever? Are you going to give your power away in the old sense to a master or a yogi or a teacher or anything outside of myself? And to me, I think a big part of that is to discuss openly things such as you're discussing right now. So that the awareness can broaden in terms of what the universe is, because it does include, fairies, the elementals, the ET brother I saw in the on the side of the road just a couple days ago, and I'm like, did you see that? Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's everything. We have to accept everything. Open is open.
Yes, it's having that open curiosity, like say, non-judgmental. I mean, all the time I'm having part of this process, ascension or whatever one calls it, waking up is that open curiosity, that childlike wonder without criticism.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I keep on coming across those assumptions, judgments, theories, programs myself. So even with the Kundalini awakening, there's a lot of fear around that, or especially around working with this chakra here, the God seat. And I've had my own experience, and so I work with people one to one with clear, because when the Kundalini, the dragon energy comes up, it will. That's the last point. It will come to meet to clear any old stuff that we're holding on to.
Yeah.
And there's some people who say, just do not go there, do not touch that chakra point. It's dangerous. The Kundalini is dangerous.
Is that flap in the back of the head? They call it the Ark of Covenant. It's got like a little flap to it. Yeah. And I've always wanted to ask this question because I'm not as well versed, I don't think, than a lot of people on the intricacies of everything that comprises, awareness, awakening, and all that. But I remember, and I'm really asking this question for people that might come across this who are just either wondering, am I having a Kundalini experience, or just had one, and what do I do and what does it mean? So I remember being in my mid-20s, and I started to meditate for really the only time in my life, a traditional meditation. I would do it at night. And I remember I was about 25, and I remember I started to feel that Kundalini coming through the base of my spine and going up, right? And it went on for a couple of nights. And I think of the third night, it came all the way up, and it went to that spot, and it blew out of my head, and it scared me so bad. It scared me so bad I ran from it for the next 10 years. But and then and to my question, and then I remember it happening right before, right at the end of the traumas that always led to the awakening everybody's had. And so I remember, and the same thing happened. I was out in public. I had I started to feel it, and I wasn't doing a meditation or anything. I thought, and I told the group I was with, I got to go. I'll be back. And I went inside and I sat at a bar high chair, you know,
Uh-huh.
and I sat back and the same thing happened and it blew out of my head, from
Right.
that same spot. Now, my question for people that are just waking up, and even for myself, because I never asked it, once you have that happen one time, like I did when I was 25, are you open from that point on, or do you have to keep maintaining it?
Yeah, keep maintaining it, and it isn't for me. I only go by my own experience, and I suppose other people that have been clients. I've it's maintaining it. You won't regret. I don't think you can regress totally back, because I don't think that's possible, especially in now where we're at now, where
Yeah,
everyone's at with, and there's a
yeah,
global kundalini and a momentum. We're all supporting
yeah,
one another. Whereas I think before the 7 year arc, which we're now completing, 2012 to 2019, we're when we start. So before 2012, we were more locked in and more in our own journey. Since 2012, we're in a collective kundalini, so things are a bit different. But um I've had three separate kundalini like you, with the fully coming through, and they are markers, and they've been very different. So one was um a dream, a lucid dream with a dragon tattooed all up my back, and I woke up with then this pounding at that point. And then it was pounding for 3 months, and then it went, and then I just felt very full of light. The second one was last year or year before. I'm a bit I don't know about the years now, more recent, and that pushed me beyond what I thought, and I say that very consciously, what I thought would be Kundalini awakening and what should happen. I was having a dream about my star seed light family. Their temple ship was in my bedroom, and they were filling me with light. I then fully woke up to, oh holy, it's happening, it's real. There's a light ship above me. They're filling me with light. My body was in complete ecstasy. And it's like, so my source, soul, starseed family are what's happening? I can't put it all into words, but I think that was the kind of that was another Kundalini awakening. And so
yeah.
I am still learning as I'm going along, is what I'm saying. I'm
I
having experiences that are going beyond what has been written down.
Yeah,
I don't know, people have talked about Kundalini awakening with star soul seed light ships.
yeah.
um, but it makes sense to me. Um, so
Well,
I think after that, I'm not gonna, I, I I've been progressing on to a point where um, I'm not going to regress.
yeah,
I've done too much clearing now. I'm in a different place. But yes, there can be still the hooks that can, but I'm more aware and conscious of them. I'm witnessing them, mindful of that, and that has to be a ongoing. Well, it has to be, because that sounds like a judgment, but it's a process of being taking responsibility for my own journey and being
yeah,
self-aware of what the hooks are, so that um it's nothing that's being done to me, or can it's coming out the victim um
yeah. Coming out
way
of the
of being.
victim. Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what I love about your delivery, your frequency, because I know you've been doing this a long time, and I know and some of the viewers on the live or the replay may not know how deep your connection to infinite intelligence goes. Not to say that you're any different from anyone else, because that's part of your frequency. Having the humility to say, I'm still figuring this out each and every day. I thought Kundalini was this, and now I'm realizing it's this. And you're right. I think that it is becoming more and more expansive. There's people all over the world reporting stuff. I can tell you, we've had Morgan and I have every day that we're physically together. We seem to have dimensional experiences and what have you. But particularly the last few days have been, there's been a very strong presence of our higher, our teams individually and as a collective, and also in terms of the veil, not, of course,
Yeah.
more veils being lifted and mutually experiencing physical apparitions and that type of thing. And who's to say that these things that we're experiencing, which the reason I brought it up is because it sounds a little similar to what you're saying. Who's to say that that's not an expanded Kundalini? I mean, this is I think an important time for us to remain open, but also to remain sovereign and fearless in our power.
Yeah. And it is more and more we're heading to a completion of the 7-year cycle to start a new one, and that the completion is, I've been told, shown, feel, is around spring equinox.
Spring equinox, which is what, March, third week of March or something.
Yeah.
Okay. And I haven't heard of the not that I can remember. I hear a lot of people talk about 2020, but I hadn't heard anything about a 7-year cycle. Now that resonates, and they say that every 7 years your body totally all the blood changes and whatever. But can you explain to us what that period is? I guess it would be ending this year, 12/12 to 2012 to 2019.
Kind of. And then also, I like to contradict myself completely. I do
Good.
that all the time.
That's how the universe teaches.
In that, I like to say, like, throw that all out the window, and it's not that fixed.
Yeah.
However, for where we've been at, we've needed our human self, our 3D, 4D has kind of needed that structure to see where we're going.
Yeah.
However, I think we're going to be moving from now on this year to not needing, it's now 7 years and it's now it's got 2020. From my experience, when I get very in the flow and able to, I'm just not having to think about structure and time and whatever I'm doing through my 3D human self. It's 5D and everything. I don't have me 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's how other people work. Well, how I experience is 3D, 4D, and then boom. That's just
I agree with you. Yeah.
It's so expansive. It's like everything is whoa.
I agree with you.
But other people love and they resonate with the numbers, the sacred geometry. And all that, and it's all wonderful, but that's not how I'm made up. And it might be it might be because my soul star seed origin is very by the source. It's very formless. So it might be because of that, or just the way I'm made up, and I love it. I'm here, I hear all that, and I hear it, and it just goes whoosh. It's not fixed in my system. It doesn't make sense to me, but I love hearing about it. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. You can be that articulate about all the layers and the dimensions and
I think that's
up the
Yes.
galactic
Yes.
creation
like
creating.
like the giant jigsaw puzzle. We're all, but you know, I think that's another thing I'm noticing. Of course, a lot of people that have come on to Soul Speaks 5D have agreed that since it's been, I think, maybe going on since early November, maybe 11/11, how the old, and this is not to slight anything because everything has served us, but that
Yeah.
the yogi guru template has fallen away. Some people call
Mm,
it the false prophet thing, whatever, you know, but I don't mean that in a negative way at all. But because what it really is saying is self empowerment, self awareness, self teaching, you know, that type of thing. But the other thing that I've noticed too is that for many people, there was one or two or three faces of the universe that brought them through the door, you know, like for me, you know, it was Archangel Michael and Six Ascended and Yeshua and Magdalene in the early days. But I didn't latch on to just those things. I learned what I needed to learn. And then I realized at some point
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
there was going to be other faces of the universe that will present themselves to me. But what I'm getting at is what I'm seeing is people that affiliated, you know, more specifically with one or two or three or four essences, if you will, they're starting to broaden and lose the
Yeah,
label and lose the limitation of these things that are non-physical aspects of the universe in themselves. And I think that's very encouraging because that shows me an openness that's expanding in the collective.
definitely. I mean, for me, is the aim is ego less.
Yeah.
So whenever I get a trigger to my ego, I'm thinking, thank you. That's another
Yeah.
layer that I'm acknowledging and seeing and witnessing, and hopefully, you know, if there's a judgment, then I acknowledge that. And
Yeah.
uh, but I've been struggling the last few weeks, especially on because I people are asking me to go to various things, to be part of various things, and I got asked, well, what shall I describe what you do and who you are? And I went, no, I don't want to say anything. And then I realized I've got to say something, but there's this process that I don't the old stories I don't want to be attached to them. They're not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not coming from a head theory, it's a passion. I feel, I mean, I've had this growing that I just don't want any objects. And I keep on, and it's been such a fun thing. I keep putting them all up, so much stuff in front of my flat. And people just go berserk outside because they see all this stuff.
Isn't that
And
something? Isn't that something? You know, I'm running across people who are just making these wholesale changes, you know, and of course, everything in the physical is a representation, right? And so they're like, oh, I'm moving, I'm getting rid of everything. You know, it's like, you know, it's cleaning out the closet.
yeah,
It's like cleaning
yeah,
out all the clutter. It's all being, and of course, you know, Morgan's been talking to me about this for years. You know, she's like, you know, if I'm talking to her and she's in Australia and she looks around the hotel room, she's like, wow, you know, that's a reflection of what's going on with you. But you know, there's some truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. And I met quite a few sisters along the path, like TL Guadalupe and Sedona, and I've seen Morgan do it where the cleaning, you know, where you clean and clean and clean, and energetically you're actually, you know, doing the same thing. So
yeah,
yeah, there's a lot of that going on. A lot of people detaching, you know,
mm.
from what was. Yeah,
A really
yeah,
good friend of mine, we had a conversation just before. I haven't been able to look it up, but so I've because just had the conversation before we came on. She went to a Jewish funeral. She's not Jewish, and it was very eclectic group of people. So the person who I don't know, rabbi, woman who was leading it, was very approachable and accessible, and part of the ceremony was saying the different names that people have, the different faces, so we don't just have one name. and only God knows our true name. And it felt really significant that it was at the funeral of this person. So it was a whole conversation I was having with my friend about this whole being ego-less and
Yeah.
feeling the layers of, I see it in every way, and including the spiritual world,
Yeah.
uh, with um, costs of this and costs of that,
Yeah.
and I just don't want to be doing with any of it.
Yeah.
Just,
It's
but
tricky, isn't it?
it is very tricky, and how to navigate and be authentic and not
Yeah.
be judgmental,
Yeah.
and um, yes, so but I like that we have several names, and those of us who've woken up to being to our soul parts. Well, I
Yeah.
was always awake, but it got more awake.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Exactly. Right.
yeah, I was
That
like conscious to it, and I could then start speaking about things and people won't think I'm crazy. I mean, now it's incredible the amount of
isn't
people.
it? Yeah. I mean, I haven't been around doing this as long as you have, but a lot of the people I've talked to, yeah, again, especially since late in the year or early this year, especially these divine feminines that I mean, you're talking like 15, 20 years. Some of the ones I've been talking to go back to the early 90s.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? You were doing what? That was before the internet. That's like being in a cave, like a caveman, and going outside and pulling out a cell phone out of your pocket to the universe, right? But yeah, so yeah, it's amazing to see them open up and talk about fearlessly, be able to, and comfortably and supported to be able to talk about their experiences and how liberating it is, and validating it is for them, because that's an activation to sit there and watch somebody share that stuff. And yeah, and I remember Marita Shashan from Israel. She came on about 2 months ago, and she said, it was only 6 months ago when I started finding these shows and stuff, and that I realized I wasn't alone. And she's been like doing this like 22 years,
Yeah,
you know.
you asked me that before. Oh, you're in England, London,
Mm.
when we first spoke in November, and have you been connected to other people? Not in this way that we're connecting in Soulology. No, there was stuff that I would kind of might just mutter or say, and people just look at me and like go no, or they just would look at me and it didn't fit their model. Um, so it's just amazing. Did I? It's something about the dragons. Did I share
Mm.
about the myth of St. George and the dragon with you?
No, but
The
I was. This is funny, but no. So I was just after when you started to talk, this thought started coming in my head, or whatever you call it, and it was telling me, it was telling me, okay, the show's winding down. Ask Elizabeth, or something like, ask Elizabeth what she has to say about the dragon slash, I think like light language, or some kind of message through the dragons. I don't even know. And here you are
yeah,
telling me, no, you
yeah.
haven't,
Well,
you haven't, you haven't told us the story. Tell us this story. I want to hear this.
yeah, and I haven't even done any light language. Oh dear. The so embedded with the land, all lands, is we've kept alive the essence of dragon, and very much in England it's the St. George and the dragon. You've got the images everywhere in churches. I always found very distressing. You've got George on the horse with a great big spear, killing the dragon, and the story is that there's a dragon in a cave outside of where people live in a village town, and this hero, knight, saint George, goes riding out on on his horse to the cave, and the dragon comes out. Now, in the original myth, the dragon comes out and he starts singing to the dragon, and then the dragon transforms into the woman. So the dragon and the divine feminine are one. And so then the divine masculine and divine feminine can unite. There's no killing of the dragon because the dragon is a divine feminine.
Yeah. Very
So
cool.
yeah, very, very cool. And then when you were having your experience of going into the cave, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was a trip. And you
Yeah.
know, and these things happen to you, and they're so frequent. And I think they register in a different part of the brain, not like typical old 3D memories. They're just like this place lights up, you know. So you have it with you, but like until somebody brings it up, like you did, you don't even remember. And then and I got this a couple of weeks ago on the show, and I was like, I think we all need to, take some time whenever. And the doubts are less and less, I think, because the awareness is expanding. But we all need to take some time and look back at all the divine episodes and divine intervention we've had over the years, because those were absolute miracles,
Mm,
by the human perception. So
yeah.
do you have anything you'd like to do to take us out the door with? Any type of invocation or light language or song or dance? If you want to dance, you can dance, whatever.
Yeah, I'll do some light language. Okay. Oh. I have this guide. I have this guide who comes through, and she's very ancient, and I'm stopping her a bit because she just wants to laugh a lot. Just, I have
That's okay. That's an activation in itself. Yeah. I think that's part of your vibration, though, is the frequency of yeah.
Oh, joy. No. He's very she. It's so she's so old, it's become she he sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, does that make sense?
No. Yeah. Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
yeah. No,
No, thank you.
okay, so much love to you. With that was communicating with your uh, gentle strength. Um, so even though this guide being couldn't come through with, because we'll have a lot to say, the energy came through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what's interesting is, now I've been able to actually, well, we've done it on this show so many times, different people. And of course I've heard Morgan do, I don't know, 10 different. She's not gonna probably ever come out and do it publicly, but I've heard her do quite a few, and I can understand what the differences in the languages, and also sometimes what she's saying. And again, it's not even the words, it's the energy is how you understand it. But watching all the different people come on here, I can actually see like this planetary link. I've seen some people and I say, oh, she's doing the same thing she did, you know, and
sounding the
yeah.
same. Yeah.
So it's like you can see the lineage behind the language. So like this one's very unique, and I can see you know, the incredible place it comes from. And you're right. It's just another example of all the jigsaw pieces of the puzzle coming together. So I really enjoy spending time with you. I look forward to future collaborations, and thank you for your patience and me getting back with you. Because if Morgan hadn't stepped in as she always does, I'd probably still be 200 messages down trying to get to yours. But thank you so much for everything. Thank you for everything that you do. And thank you for starting our day off here and ending Europe's day on Soul Speaks 5D. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You take care. All right. I'll see you again soon. All right. You take care. I'll see everybody in 56 minutes with the next show. Y'all take care.